Hello guys, welcome to Charities Bible USA, your #1 channel. Guys, it's so cold. See me wearing my coat here. It's very cold. This is our first cold day, and I'm coming from school. Yeah, I'm looking at a lady there. She's crossing with her kids. So I was like, did I go before her? Because here you're not supposed to go before passengers, but she's going the other way. So guys, how are you? I hope you're doing fine. Oh my goodness. So I have something to talk about, but before that, guys, thank you for watching my videos. Coming from school, so I'm gonna show you around. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. This place is called Butler. This place is called Butler. I have to change the lane. And I'm going home. And if you look at it, it looks very sunny, but it's so cold. Oh my goodness. It's very cold, but that's how it is. You can get out of your house thinking that it's gonna be very warm, but actually it's gonna be very cold. So here in the US, what we do, we really rely on the weather. Really rely on looking at the weather forecast so that you can know and you can dress appropriately, because you don't want to go somewhere and then you are so cold. Oh, why do I have the signal on? You're so cold that you don't know like what to do. Right now it's very cold, guys. So I want to talk about a few things that people have asked about, mostly concerning the people who have won the DV lottery. There's some people who won, and there was this person who texted me, and they were like, they're married and they work in different places. So I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about more about the people who are doing the process, the DS-260. They are doing the everything, you know, everything that is required, because you find that when you win your DV lottery, they are going to give you instructions on your email, and those instructions, you have to follow them to the T. You know, whatever that they require, you have to provide. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. So I'm driving. I want to go and join the highway. So there's no many homes or anything here in this place, but it's just that. So I'm just gonna go straight. I like avoiding let me show you. I hope I'm able to show you. I like avoiding that place, because if you go through there, you pay the tag. You go through the turnpike and you have to pay the tag. And since this road is free, I am a free person. I like free. You know, you have to be smart when you live in the US. So like I said, I'm talking about those people who are preparing for their interview, because when you get your second notification letter, of course they have your instructions. They want to get your immunizations. They want you to verify your documents. Remember, they do not require you to send documents, because earlier you used to send your documents to KCC, but right now you don't need to do that. What you need to do is just to have them and go and submit them. But your documents must be authentic, because it's not that you just take your documents and they are like, oh, these are okay and whatever. They verify. And that is one thing that I have noted when I came to live here in the US. Let's assume you want to go and get your driver's license. You are a permanent resident and you want to go and get your driver's license, because of course when you win your DV lottery, you will have to apply for your permanent resident card, and when you come in to live in the US, you will be a permanent resident. There's no question about that. But let's assume you have come because you need to go and get your ID and everything, and you are living at a certain place. Yes, they know that you live in that place when they look you up, because the first thing that you do when you come here, you go and report to the post office, this is the place that I am living, because so that when you get mail, because the mail system is very, 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 very used here, like it's very common, so they will know. So you have to give something called approve. Approve, they ask you for a bill, maybe an electricity bill or a water bill. That is what you take. And why? It is not that they are disagreeing with where you are living. It is like you're showing proof. So that is the same thing. So let's assume that you are married and you have marriage certificate. It has to be authentic. The school certificates you have, right now I know they ask for a verification. I know in our time they weren't asking for a verification, but right now they are asking for a verification. So there was this person who was asking, they are married, but they work in different places. Now that should not worry you, whether you work in different places or whatever, as so long as you are married. You should not worry about that. And that is why I tell you guys that DV lottery is very, very different. It's very, very different, because when you win your DV lottery, it gives you a chance to come and become an immigrant. A DV lottery is not like a student visa. A DV lottery is not like a visitor's visa. No, it's very, very, very different. And when I talk about the DV lottery, I want you to understand that you are, when you win the DV lottery, at a better position. You know what I mean? Like there are so many hurdles that you will skip as compared to someone who is going in to get a student visa, or maybe someone who is going in to get a visitor's visa, because those ones they have to prove beyond reasonable doubt that when they come, they are going to go back. Those ones they really have to prove that. But when you win your DV lottery, it's different. So what they have asked in that paper, you have to submit that. And that's what I was saying, that you should not worry. If let's assume like someone works in Nairobi, and then the other one works in Kitale, or maybe the other one works in a different country. Because remember, when you filled out your DV lottery, if you are in a different country and you are not in the country in your country of birth, there was a place that you were indicating, the country that you live today. So that should not worry you, the place of work that you are working, or where your spouse is working, as so long as you are married. What is wrong is whereby you look at how the grass is so like dry, because it's so cold. The grass is so dry because it's very, 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 very cold, and that's why you see it looks like in the desert. Looks like it's in the desert, but anyway, it is what it is. So your documents must be authentic, as so long as your story, like what you wrote, what you did in your application, follows through with what you have put in your DS-260, and what is in your DS-260 follows with what you're going to say at the embassy. You're good to go, guys. You should not worry. And that's why I say there is no way that you have won your DV lottery and you're going to talk to someone who went to the embassy because they went to get a student visa. Now those ones, they don't go together, or they went to get visitor's visa, or maybe they were going for a conference or whatever. No, they don't go together, guys. So you should know that. Because when I look at some of the questions, I'm like, now this person, they might be getting the information from the wrong person. Now the other thing that you should know is that, and I've talked about this one several times, but I always like to repeat about it, is that if you are married customarily, just go and get a marriage certificate. But you only get the marriage certificate, and this one I like to insist, if you had indicated that you were married in your first application. But if you indicated that you were single, and then you went to go to do your marriage after you have won your green card, there it poses a question whether you are authentic or you are not authentic, or whatever you are, because your information is not following. So myself, what I do, or what I can advise someone is, like, if you are single, just go single, and then later, after you have come, you have settled and everything, you can file for your spouse for that actually, that one is fiance, because there's a difference here between a fiance and a married person. So, and I've seen people, they've come, of course, maybe you have a girlfriend or whatever, and you didn't include them in your DV lottery, you are not going to wake up the next morning and say, oh, I'm not going to leave her, I'm going to add them in my DS260. Now that one reduces your chances because you're adding people. Or you left your kids and then you want to add them. Now that one is going to bring you a problem. But let's assume you came in, you were single, and then you have come, you have settled. Because settling is very, very important when you come to the US. You have to make sure that the first 2 years or first 3 years, you are getting familiarized with everything. And you are trying to adapt, because if you do not adapt well, or if you do not flow with the system, you find that 10 years later you will find yourself like the same place that you are. It's very, 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 very common to find that. But then what some people do, they normally come in, and then after they have settled, maybe you have gotten your own car apartment, or maybe you have gotten your own job and all that, then they start making plans to invite their spouses. Now, another thing that you should consider, and most people do not know, but your host really can determine your success. So when you go, and it doesn't matter, sometimes when you are in Africa, you don't have a choice of the person who hosts you. Like, you have no choice, because and right now it's a little bit more harder, because your host has to send you the I-34, and they have to send you their tax information, all that stuff, you know, the affidavit of support and the tax information. So it becomes a little bit more complex. But what I know is that after you win your DV lottery, it doesn't matter. God has opened the way. That has always been my like how I know, like when God opens a way, he's gonna, you know, make the whole path, and you will be able to get a host. Like I told you, soon I'm gonna be living with a lady with her child, and they just reached out to me and they asked if I could host them. And then there was this other question before I talk about how the host can impact your stay here in the US. There was a question whereby do I host people, or how much do I charge? For me, even if I was to host, I wouldn't charge anybody, because like if I asked you for like $500 or whatever, or $1,000 or whatever, that's not gonna help me much, you know. So for me, what I do is, if I find someone and they are authentic, because before I decide that I am gonna host you, I have to do all my checks and everything and make sure that it's authentic and all that, because I'm not gonna send you my stuff if I really, 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 really do not know, like for sure. I have to know for sure and do my investigation and all that before I host you. But I find it, I can find someone a host, but I do not like promising that, because most people don't like sharing their information. So for me, what I do is that I normally tell you guys to network. It's very, very important for you to work with people who are living in the US, people who are living in Germany, people who are living in other countries outside there. And also, you find that those people have got relatives. They have got relatives. So if you know, like so and so in your church, or so and so in that you go to the group to Chama, you know, those Chamas, or maybe so and so who is a friend of a friend, and they have someone who lives in the US. Those are the people that you should be familiarizing with, so that if you have won that green card lottery, they will be able to host you. Because you find that right now, because of those documentations that they ask for, you find that an individual is not going to be able to like send out their information to so many people, because they look at this person, they look at your income and all that, and they are like, is this person able to host this many people? So there can be a hindrance. But personally, I don't charge anything, and I don't have like whatever, I don't have like I don't like have like an organization or whatever that I tell people that they can host people. No, I don't do that. I just give information, and I try to help you, because I know if we got a host, I told you guys, as we didn't have anybody who lived in the US. Actually, the only people that I knew who lived in the US were the people that I went to school with, and some of them we had lost contact, you know. But through my husband, he knew people who knew people, and they were able to refer him. And remember, our first host refused And then we got another one who was a total stranger who really turned out to be really good. So there are those people who are good. So I need you guys to start networking. You have to start networking. That's important, guys. If you're thinking of coming to live in the US, you have to start networking. And that shows you have to be aggressive, because even when you come in here in the US, for you to be successful, oh my gosh, you have to be very, very, very aggressive. Very, very, very aggressive. You want to know stuff. You want to do things. You want to, you want to look, create a goal and say, 5 years later, gonna be, or 5 years later, this is what I want to do. Like, you have to have all that, because if you don't have all that, it's very, very easy to come to this country and not gain much. And it will be so sad, because you have an opportunity whereby you can better yourself. So you have to know that. So I wanted to talk about how the host can influence your life. They can influence it negatively, or they can influence it positively. It depends. It all depends. Because like a host, sometimes you don't have a choice. You don't have like so many that you can choose from. Because of course, someone who is going to send you their documentation, the first thing is that they are here legally. They have papers. If someone living in the US doesn't mean that you are here in the right ways. No, it doesn't. But if you find that someone is sending you their documents and all that, that person is, they're legal, because you can't, you don't have like much to send if you're not legal. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing to know. So your host will influence you in so many ways, whereby you will go and look at your host. After you live there, you are going to make that decision. Am I gonna follow what my host is telling me, or am I gonna be independent and start thinking independently? Because this is a capitalist country. This is not where it's Harambe stuff and all that. No. This one, you do it for yourself. Even your kids, you teach them how to do it for themselves. So you will come and you are gonna stay with your host, and then you will be like, am I progressing or am I not progressing? And that is why my advice, I normally say that when you come to your host, don't stay there for more than 3 months. What are you doing? Don't stay there for 3 months. Because when you come here, you wait. Right now, I know people are applying for their green card when they still haven't come into the US. So by the time you're coming in, maybe your green card is going to be in the mail of your host. So you have that. And when you have that, with the green card, you get your social, and then after that you go and get your ID. You don't even need to buy a car at that time, guys. You don't need to. Because sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna stay here until I buy a car. No, look for a job where you can walk. Yeah, you can. My husband rode a bike for close to 1 year before we could even afford a car. He rode a bike, and he was driving his bike for more than 2 hours, going to work and coming back. Because you cannot rely on people, because here people work on schedules. And that is the hard truth that you have to know. Because most people don't talk about it, but that's the reality. Because sometimes someone will be willing even to give you rights and all that, but then their schedule sometimes is conflicting, because that happens. So you find that jobs are everywhere. Jobs are near apartments. Jobs are near homes. Like if I walk from my house and I am going to my nearest store, if I wanted to walk, it would take me like 20 minutes and I'll be at the store. So you can decide, I have gotten this job. I'm not going to look for a job that is very, very far away, especially if you go to a state like the state that I live in. I know states are different. They are different, guys. If you come, this is like in the village. That's what I can say. Is that here you can get a job. I used to work with this girl who she got a job. Actually, she had been hosted, but then when she went to look for a job, she went and looked for a job, like her apartment and her job, they were just next to one another. So she would walk to work. Actually, even when she bought a car, she just walked. She was like, and then she was so smart, because she looked for an apartment where there was a job and there was a supermarket, a store was just there. The laundry area was just there because those apartments did not have a laundry. So, I would look at that girl. I'd be like, this girl is so smart, because when she wants to go to the store, she doesn't need to wait for someone to go and give her a ride. She walks to the store. When she wants to go to work, she just walks to work. And then she chose a shift whereby it could not be very late for her. but then still it's still safe. I think it's still very, very safe for you to walk here in the US and nobody to ask you where you're going and all that, and unless you live in a very bad state like our state, I would say, like there's that safety that nobody is gonna ask you even when you walk at 2 a.m. in the morning, like you're just good. So those are some of the things that you should know, that you have to do that. The other thing I want to talk about, there's this person who reached out and they were like, Charity, why don't you talk about taxes? Now, when you talk about taxes, now that's a system that when you come here and when you work, you're required to pay your taxes. Like that's a must. And taxes here, you pay them even when you go to the store. So when you have gone to buy your food, I know there are some other states that are totally different, but you find that when you go to the store, when they do your account, maybe you bought milk, you bought your vegetables and all that, you find that at the end of the day, you'll find that there is some money down there for tax. So you have paid that tax, right? If you buy a car, like this car of mine, or maybe you have bought another car, every year you have to go and renew your tag. Now, renewing your tag is paying a tax because you'll pay some amount of money, and it depends on the cost of the car. It depends. You know, my previous car, I was paying, I think I was paying 180. But this one, when I went to pay the tag, they told me it was $500. I was like, what? Why? Like, you know, it depends on the price of your car. So you have to pay for your tag because every year they have a different color. And when you go and pay, they will give you a different color of tag, and it's gonna say the expiry date. So that's another form of tax that you can pay, that you have to pay. Like you must pay. If you don't pay for your tag, or you are going to be stopped by a policeman, and sometimes you can be fined, because that one you have to pay. Like it's a must for you to pay. Now I also want to talk about if you are working. If you are working, you see your social, like I said, when you come here, you have your green card, that's a record. You have your social, that's a record. You have an ID, that's a record. So, and then when you get a job at the end of the year, what they do, they normally send you some information of the money that you have worked that whole year, and they send you some information for so the gross income, like the money that you have worked for without taxes. They send you all that stuff. Like this is what you made in this specific year. So what you do, you can file your own taxes. You can go and just do a class. There are some very many free classes that you can go to. You can go to the workforce and they can teach you how to do your own taxes or whatever, or maybe you can pay someone. Most people here, especially here in Wichita, they just charge you $100 or $150 and they do it for you. So what they do is that whatever that you have worked for, that is what you will file, like those numbers. There's a certain website that it's filed. And of course, if you have a house, you have to give that information. If you have several houses, you have to give that information. If you have any other income, you could have another different income from something else, like any work that you have worked. If you are a businessman, you do business, you have to say, this is what I made this year, and then they will put those numbers in, and it depends on how much you have worked. If you have worked so many hours, like you made so much money, you normally do not get anything back. You know, they look, and of course they look at your family, the household, because you have to enter the information for your kids. If you're married, you have to enter information that you're married and all that stuff. So when you do that, you are gonna, there's a policeman right behind me. I don't know if it's true, but whatever, it's a state trooper. So so what you do, so that's the policeman car, guys. So what you do, but if you haven't done anything wrong and you're not overspeeding or whatever, you should never be worried about anything. So so you give that to that person. There are those people who do taxes for people, and then you pay them, and then you will know later, like a few weeks later, you're gonna know whether you're gonna get anything back. There are sometimes that you will get something back, depending on your household and depending on how much money you made. So let's assume you are a low-income person and you didn't make so much money. Sometimes you get some returns whereby you get some amount of money back. Sometimes if you have worked so hard, you have worked so many hours, you find that you sometimes you don't get anything, or sometimes you will be forced to pay. They will tell you that you owe because you worked too hard. So it all depends, and that comes to the question of is it okay for you like to be working like 100 hours or 200 hours or whatever hours, because Africans do that. And why they do that is because the job that you chose, or the job that you are working, you're not making enough in an hour, because here you're paid hourly. So you decide, I am going to be working a lot of overtimes. It's okay to work overtimes. You still make more, but when you look at your if you look at your pay slip very well, and that's something that I had to learn very, very early when we came in the US, is that when you work very hard, sometimes you will look at your pay stub and you will see that the money that you have been taxed is more. It's a lot, because they don't count like the same. Your regular hours, you're supposed to work 80 hours or 72 hours a week. So that one, they will tax you differently. But if you work overtime, a lot of overtime, you find that one you taxed more. The tax is a little bit more. So you become wiser. And that's why you find that some people, they are like, let me do a certain career so that I can get a job that I can still make more money, but I don't have, number one, I don't have to be taxed a lot. Number two, I don't have to be very tired and then look at my pay stub and be like, oh my gosh, all these, because I know that there was a time that, I was really working very, 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 very hard. And then I just started paying attention to my pay stub. And then I was like, oh, like the tax that they tax you when you have worked so much overtime is so much. And then you find that when you go to file your taxes, that year I remember we had to pay. So that is why it is important for you to look for a career, like go to school and get something for you. And if you are not able to, then if you're not able to, then look for something that's gonna help you. That like you're making money to sustain yourself, but at the same time, you're not getting very tired, and at the same time, you're not like feeling like you're working for nothing. Because when all that and working overtime, there's that stress that gets into you, because you have that fatigue that doesn't go away anywhere. So those are some of the things that you should think about when you're coming here in the US. And that's why you find that some people, even if not both of you are able to go back to school or whatever, families decide, especially if you are married, they decide, is it the man who is going to go back to school, or is it the woman? It depends, and anybody can, but it all depends on your needs, because you have your needs. So when you look at all those dynamics, then you're like, I'm going to go to school, get this job. Even if you become an LPN, it's okay. Even if you want to do plumbing, it's okay, but you're working regular hours. Even if you become a carpenter, an electrician, there are those jobs for electrician, a mechanic, but you are working your regular hours. The people, the indigenous people who live here, the white people, they don't like working so many hours. You will not find like a white person is working like 100 hours in a week or whatever. No, they don't do that. No, or 250 hours. They don't do that. They work their regular hours, and that's it. And it's funny, you find that when it's time to clock out and someone doesn't show up on time, it's a problem, because they don't like, because they understand better. Because I think working smart and not working hard is the key. So taxes have to be paid. You have to pay your taxes. If you don't, you find that you owe. You normally owe. So I was talking to this other lady. She hadn't filed her taxes in 5 years. So she was like, she had to go back and redo all the taxes for all those years that she had missed. She had to go back and do all that. So it's a task. So every year, and they give you a time period whereby you file your taxes, and then they have a deadline. When you come in here, you learn all those things, like when's the date that you're supposed to file, and when it's closed, because it's not all the time, but mostly it's from the end of the year towards the beginning of the coming year, and then you are good with that. So I hope that I was able to explain a better for you guys to understand about taxes, because I know, especially in Kenya right now, I understand with the new administration, like everybody will have to pay taxes. Yeah, it's good to pay taxes because the taxes, and here in the US, it's a little bit different because when you see like you basically see what the money is doing, because we have good roads here. The healthcare it's good. I would, you know, coming from where we came from, I would say that this is good. You know, it's good. You know, and our kids, they go to school. We don't pay much. They have free buses. Some kids, they even have free lunch. You don't have to pay anything. Others, if the family's income is a little bit higher, they get reduced lunch. That is, they pay like a little bit, and your kids will go to school, they'll eat breakfast, and they will have lunch. You know, all those things. But so taxes have to be paid is very, very important. So the thing that I can say about coming here and processing your DV lottery and all that is that when you come here, you have to have a good mindset. Like, that's very, very important. And if you are young, guys, for the young generation, please, when you come here, you must go to school. For me, it's a must. You know, I tell my children, you have no reason to tell me that you don't want to go to school. Like, I don't understand, you know, like, you are young. You do not have anything that's bothering you. You don't have kids. Like me, I have 4 kids, and I'm still struggling to go to school. Why? Because in another 10 years, I'm not going to be the same. Maybe I won't be able to work very hard and all that. So I want to go to a job whereby I can go a few hours and then I go back home, you know. But you don't want to be, you want to think. And there's a video that I did, I think last year, that I was talking about, think about the future. Have a goal. Because when you are older, when you are 60 years old, you are not going to think about going back to school. No. Your joints will be aching. Your back will be saying no. You will be getting tired more and all that. So at that time, you want to be settled. You know, you want to be doing something that you're going, and you can even work for 3 days and you're good to go. And the other times you rest. Because here, the other thing that you have to know is that it's not like in Africa whereby when and I'm not sure if you guys can see because it's so sunny. It's so sunny, but it's so cold at the same time. You know, it's very, very sunny, but it's very, very cold. So what I'm saying is that I hope you guys can see that video, because I don't know if it's coming on. I'll look at it before I post it. If it's not coming on, I have to do a new one. So you have to think about that, because here, without your income, because when you go to work, there is some money that is called social security money, that every month, every paycheck, you have to be deducted by the government. That's the money to take care of you when you are young, when you're old, sorry. So it's not like in Africa whereby the parents, they are very old and we have to take care of them. We have like to know all their needs. It's okay, that's our culture, which is okay, it's fine. But you find that here it's a little bit different. If you expect that you have your kids and they're going to take care of you when you're old, oh my gosh, you are mistaken, because that's not the system here. That is not the system here. The system here, most people, yes, you will have family members and everything, but you, even if you go to a nursing home or whatever, most of it that pays for you is social security. Of course, when you are older, when you're 65 and all that, you get more gains, because if you don't have anything, then the government will chip in. But before the government chips in to help you out here, you must have zero, actually. They won't help you if you have all that, because I've seen most people, when you go to the nursing home, what happens is that they will sell you, if you have a car and you're not able to drive, your car, it has to go, your house has to go, and all that stuff. And then when everything is gone, then that is when the government chips in. That's how I've seen it. So you have to think about all those dynamics, guys, when you're coming in, and plan. You have to plan well. So I hope that this video is gonna help someone out there, especially if you're planning to come and live in the US. Uphold your goals. Know that you have to work hard. This is a working country. You cannot survive here in the US without working like you can, because everything that you do, even the air that you're breathing, you pay for it. You pay for it. Like right now, it's very, very cold. We have to heat our houses. Now, heating your house is not going to be cheap, because you have to pay for that gas. You have to pay for that electricity. It's done, but you have to think about, I'm here right now. I am 20 years old. Am I gonna be able to go to work 200 hours when I am 60. You know, there's also something else that this person was like, I think, I don't know, they hadn't won the green card lottery, but they asked, oh my God, what the heck? I don't know where that siren is coming from. So they asked, what if I have won the green card and then I can come a little bit, and then after I come a little bit, then I can go back to Africa when I get my green card? Let me tell you, when you come here, you don't want to go back. You do not want to go back, that's for sure. Like, it's different, guys. What is here is different, and the life is different. And most people, they say, oh, I'm gonna go there a few days and then I'm gonna go back. Most people don't go back. Maybe a smaller percentage who go back. And if you do your thorough investigation, you will find that most of the percentage that goes back home is because they didn't have the right documentation. Because if you don't have the right documentation, guys, and you're here and you have never thought about, like, you know, there's some things like that can be done for you to help yourself, then you find that it will be very easy for you to go go back home. I remember when we came in, there was, I think Obama was the president here, and then we came to the Trump administration. I know that there were so many people who moved out of this state. And when when you do your own research and everything, you'll find out, oh, that person, because they couldn't get a job anywhere. So those are some of the things that, you know, that's the truth of it. It doesn't mean that I have anything against those people, no, but you find that you can face so many challenges, especially if you don't have the right documentation. Because everywhere you go here, you have to, like, show that you're authentic, you have to give your documents and all that. So I hope that this video is going to help you guys. I'm just encouraging you. And of course, I know so many people did do the application of the green card lottery, so I'm just praying for you and just hoping that you will keep that